We're standing at Legacy Garden of Life, something that was created just over 2 years ago as we endeavored to think differently about how we memorialize a loved one. What is involved and how people want to change that scope and that vision. Los Gatos Memorial Park has been serving families and been the home, the final resting place, since the late 1800s for part of the San Jose community, the Los Gatos, Campbell, and many of our neighboring cities and towns for many years. And where we stand now was, for 40 or 50 years, just the last dirt patch here at the cemetery, waiting for an idea, a concept, something that would be different than what we have done in the past, a traditional burial site where there's a headstone and you make a decision for your final resting place, be it further from the road, near a tree, by a fence line, for whatever reason you would choose to have those specific places. Our goal was to challenge and meet everybody where their senses are, to create a sensory experience associated with connection to the loved one that you've lost. Our plan started with a concept that as soon as we heard about it, we were excited. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. It was shared by a designer, and Dan Campbell came up with Carrie Montez, this beautiful concept of a garden based on the seasons of life. And through the seasons of life, summer, spring, autumn, and winter, it would be personified by Mother Nature in bronze. And as she ages, the garden changes as the year changes. It blooms seasonally. We love the seasons. Everyone has a favorite season. Everyone has a time of year that they foster love and compassion around that time of year. And we wanted to make sure that when folks walked through this garden, that that embodied all of those seasons. And we happen to be in such a great place on this earth and in the Silicon Valley, here in Los Gatos and San Jose, that we can nurture all of these plants to life and make sure that everything is always lush and green and beautiful, a place where people can walk through and have a distance immediately to a cemetery. A cemetery has always been a somber, sometimes scary place for folks, and our goal was for people to come into this garden, and eventually it would evolve into a secret garden of sorts, where if you visited for a service many, many years ago and you came back to it, you'd have to look for one of the cats that might be behind me, and where was the other one? It would be hidden by amazing brush and tree and fauna. It would be surrounded by the sound of water and fountains. Water and fountains is a symbol of life and the world of feng shui, and we wanted to incorporate that. There's so many things we had to be thoughtful of here at Los Gatos Memorial Park and at any cemetery, in our secular and non-secular world, and those that we serve, and who wants to be where and why they would make a decision to be here at Los Gatos Memorial Park. So we changed the entire concept of the cemetery, and we worked to ensure that everyone could walk into this garden and find their special place. And water is an incredible feature. The concept of the garden being associated with seasons is a wonderful concept that I wish I could take credit for. I can't. It was someone else's brilliant creation that myself and a host of other individuals were able to help create, and I am grateful for that time and effort that has been put into it. It was built by so many individuals who put their passion and energy, and everyone that laid every aspect of the set of stone, that laid the bark, that set the locations for memorialization. They were vested in the story. So it lived and breathed with everyone that was involved, from the concept of its origin and idea to the development. And every single individual that has had the opportunity to walk through has had a unique experience specific to themselves. I remember the first plant that was planted in this garden. It is my favorite plant. The waterway behind me, the longest and slowest flowing of the babbling brooks, is something that I love about this garden, and I come to see those different aspects when I'm here. The other sense that we wanted to get in touch with is is hearing and music. So we've incorporated speakers throughout the entire garden. Many times we don't consider is hearing and the things that we hear and how that evokes emotion. And I know through personal experience that music is something that binds us all and that is near and dear to our heart. And there's always a song, there's always a sound that changes, that brings emotion. Jaws is not the movie it is without the soundtrack, and the music helps to change every experience. And we wanted a family to be able to walk into this garden and have a thought as to what their favorite music would be for their loved one that could bring them together. And we're working to make sure that that's an active part of everyone's visit here at the park. We can ensure that you have that emotional experience. I am a strong proponent of embrace the tears and let them fall. It allows you to experience who someone is. It allows you to have contact with them in a way that you can't if you stifle that feeling. And there's so many things that our senses, if we allow them to, that can draw emotion and help us remember someone better, even for a moment. And this garden it was built. It's one of a kind. There's not another garden like Legacy Garden of Life, with its many waterways, waterfalls, bridges, the thoughtfulness that was placed into it. On top of that, the immense care that's placed on by the Los Gatos Memorial Park staff every single day to ensure that when someone walks into the garden, they have a beautiful experience. One of the things that we're most proud of for the garden is the peace that it brings to those that visit, that have selected this as their final resting place to visit their loved ones, to hear the water, to have the tranquil peace, to experience the music that was near and dear to their loved one's life. But it doesn't end there. It's not just for those families that have loved ones laid to rest in this garden. It's for the entire Los Gatos Memorial Park Cemetery. We find that we have visitors walking through here on a daily basis, and it's just a peaceful moment. Whether it's in a neighboring garden that it would be a far more traditional burial than here at the Legacy Garden, they still have the opportunity to embrace the beauty of the garden and the peace that it brings to them. And that's definitely a feel-good for us, that we see people in here experiencing what was built and what was created on an everyday basis. We're happy that that it's not single purpose. It's not just for those that you see laid to rest behind us, but for everyone. And we find on the weekends that there's folks that come in and they'll park their bikes out in front and they'll walk through in our neighboring community, and they're having a different conversation. Our goal at Los Gatos Memorial Park and Darling Fischer, in line with my predecessors, which would be Clyde Fischer and Jack Fischer and Jeff Fischer, who I'm so grateful to work with today. How could we endeavor to be different? How could we continue to find new opportunities for families to memorialize in unique and special ways? And Legacy Garden is in line with what the Fischers have set up long before myself, and I am grateful for them every day that they've embraced this new change. They've been here, they've walked these paths with myself and the entire staff, with our grounds crew who keeps it every day. And we hope that if you do visit, that you'll share with us that this provided a peaceful experience to you and that it was different than what you'd expected.